Hi submarine friends. Well, another busy day today working on my diesel electric submarine here. So I've got these holes cut, and that's where the 100-pound propane tanks will sink in. They sink in just shy of half the diameter. So they're 15 inches in diameter, but they sink in 6 inches. And that's because when the two tanks come together, they'll touch, so I can't sink them in more. I would have liked to sink them in more, but I want them back as far as possible to offset the weight of this ballast tank. So those two tanks give me 480 pounds of lift. So that's quite a bit. That's like this whole back section probably weighs 600 pounds. So that really helps with the balance of the submarine when it's in the water. So the way that I do this, I take the 100-pound propane tank, I knock the valve out, I just put a big 3-foot sludge or a 3-foot pipe wrench on it, give it a whack with a sledgehammer, and that cracks them free. I have to sit on it to hold it. Anyways, then I fill it with water, and then standing up I fill it through the valve opening, of course, and then when it's full of water, I take my cutting torch and I cut a 7-inch hole in the top. The reason I cut such a large hole is once I dump the water out, I can take my tiger torch, and with a 7-inch hole, you're able to blast a flame inside. If it's not 7 inches, it won't work. So by blasting a flame inside, it cooks the interior. I bring the tank up to like 500-600 degrees, and that cooks that stinky stuff out. So the tank no longer smells. If you don't do that, every time you use the air that's stored in there, you'll get that propane smell. I don't want that. So I just blast the daylights out of it with a propane tiger torch, and it clears the smell right out of it. So I have to stop because the first tank is fit for the other side, and the second tank is still, well, I screwed up because I had 3 tanks, and I cut the top off of 2 of the tanks, and I decided I didn't like that tank. The third tank is better. So now I'm draining the third tank. My brother's gonna hate me because I'm wasting about a quarter of a tank of propane because he transfers it into his pickup. But anyways, in a couple, 3 hours, that tank should be burned off. So tomorrow morning, I will knock the valve out, cut that 7-inch hole, and blast it with propane. Then I weld a cap over that hole just with some 1/8 plate. And then I have to weld a fitting in the bottom for the airline to connect to. And I want it in the bottom because I won't have a way of draining water out of those tanks. You know, compressors generate water. So, you know, it just takes water out of the atmosphere because the compressor is hot, so it condenses. So I need to be able to get the condensed water out of the tank. So with the air hose connected to the very bottom of the tank, it'll just naturally blow out all the time. So the tanks will stay dry inside. So then I have to cut a hole in the back underneath the tail cone cover so that I can blast tar in there to seal them, because I won't be able to get up and over to do good rust prevention on those tanks because they're going to be welded into this opening. So I won't be able to remove them and inspect them. I can inspect them with my borescope camera, but I need to have a way to get a Schutz gun in there to blast it with tar. So that's where we're at. I'm going to stop for today. It's kind of an icky, crappy day today. You can see my breath. I mean, it's warm enough. I'm working in a sweater, but it's not very nice out. So tomorrow, I hope I can wrap this part up, and then I'll work on the fuel tank for the front ballast tank. I'm kind of liking that I can shut the big door, so I'm not in a big rush to put that forward ballast tank on, because then it won't fit in here anymore, unless I turn it on an angle. I guess I could do that. Actually, I have it on rollers right now, so I picked the front of it up with the forks in my Bobcat, and I moved it forward so I'd have more room to work in the back here. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll swing it. I don't know. I'll figure that out. I only think about the project at hand. I don't like to think too far ahead because I don't get overwhelmed. I know I've said that before. So that's it for today. Ciao.